Yes.
Okay. Uh-oh. It's kind of locked up right now. I don't understand why.
Because it's Monday.
Yeah, okay, go. You're live.
Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for joining us for our Monday edition of Medicare Guru Sales Dojo here in Cedar Park, Texas. If you are watching this, you are either a new agent who wants to learn more about how Medicare works, or if you are actually taking a break from your work this morning, if you are a new agent for Medicare Gurus, want to check out to see what's going on. So thank you for joining us. We have Allison here. Allison, good to see you.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
So this week is the last week of AEP.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they have 3 more days. So the clients or the customers that are calling in are famous procrastinators.
Yes.
So I want to ask you, what kind of conversations are you having with those clients today?
A little bit of frantic. A little bit of frantic. Those people generally are, as you said, the procrastinators. And they waited so long, they're ready to go.
Yeah.
Now, right now.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so how do you handle those?
Delicately, just with a little bit of humor too for myself,
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. That breathe. Tell them to breathe. It's okay. Right. I mean, honestly, it's been pretty smooth sailing for today and Friday as well.
Good. Good.
I think I've been pretty lucky, knock on wood.
Right. Well, this is actually agents' favorite time of the year, which is the last week of AEP. And the reason is because people are calling in and saying, hey, I need you to help me right now. Mm-hmm. And we can tell them, hey, you do realize how this is the busiest time of the year for all Medicare recipients. So you're going to work under, this is where we can give I love giving pushback. It's like, you realize that if you get off the phone with me, or if you want to think about it, or if you need to wait, you're not getting anybody on the phone the rest of this week. You will have, if you have a chance, some straggler who doesn't know what they're doing, begging for someone to talk to. And they're going to fumble that deal. So this is the week that we really, tighten up the screws and say, hey, listen, people that are trying to get deals done, this is your fault that you waited this long. Now, I can help you and I can take care of you for 2023, but you need to listen to exactly with what I have to say. We're talking about agents with the last week of AP, giving them some advice on how to handle procrastinators.
Here's the thing, too. You should never be in a situation where you're dealing with a procrastinator, because they should be able to trust and follow you implicitly already. And part of that is building up value in what you do and who you are. I am always busy because I'm good.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So there's a right way to do this, and then there's no way at all. So if there's an extenuating or exigent circumstance where I can't get it done today, you don't have your checkbook, you don't have something, I get it. I'll schedule an appointment. That's a hard appointment, but I'm not chasing.
Yeah.
I have a lot of people that need my help, and I do have a lot of people that need my help. Now I have a lot of agents that need my help. So that's the thing, that AEP has always been busier because there's a lot of people that are forced to buy, especially with Advantage plans in a certain time frame, and other people have been trained to do so. If there are supplements, they think, I got to change this time. Well, it's the drug plan you got to change.
Right.
But then they want to take care of it at the same time. That's fine. But the issue that people run into is that too many agents out there, too many specialists, they believe that this should be the busy time. And they don't focus on making every day busy.
Yeah.
Lining up your pipeline. And I don't actually say pipeline like a normal, I talked to this person, they said talk to them later as part of my pipeline, right? No, that's BS.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
That's self-delusion, and you're going to burn time. Mm-hmm. You have to start going through here and understanding that you are an authority in the market. Therefore, it's like sitting with Warren Buffett. You get investment advice from him. You're like, well, let me think about it. Right. I'll get back to you next week. Or call me next week. He's going to go, no,
Yeah.
I'm not going to do that.
Right.
I got a world to run from behind the shadows. Of course I'm not going to do that. That's one of the things. So that's why you have to start adopting this persona. And by doing that, you have to start believing it yourself. You really have to start knowing what you're doing. You got to know the rules behind it. You got to know the pros and the cons of every option. You really have to adopt this as part of your core so that you can honestly honestly speak with authority on the subject. By speaking with authority and caring on the subject, people will listen to what you say, including, no, we need to do this right now.
Yeah.
I can't go through there. I'm sorry. I've obviously missed something and messed something up. Done.
Right.
You got to commit.
Yeah.
Right.
Like any relationship, at one point you got to understand that what makes everything really beautiful in life is the fact that it might end.
Mm-hmm.
And if we can't get this done for you, well, this relationship's done.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. And talking to these new recruits that are coming on, they come from that world.
right.
They come from, oh, I have to rush. I have to do this.
Or I have to schedule appointments.
I have to schedule appointments. I have to do all these things. And, they're going to learn very quickly that that's not the way to go.
Yeah. I mean, we see this all the time. I see it anytime anyone comes from a large corporate structure in a sales world. I always hear this in the checkups and check-ins. Oh, pipeline's good. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I have 37 appointments for next week. Oh, okay. Sure. All right.
Yeah.
37
You got someone like Brad sitting there with 9 appointments for the week and he's closing 25.
Right.
You got Jacob sitting there going, I don't have time. We got to do it right now. And they're
Right.
happening right now.
Yeah.
So that's a big thing to learn how to do is to go, no, I do have the authority and the know-how to actually say that this needs to be done in this order.
Mhm.
And if they aren't willing to follow you on that, you've missed something else.
Yeah. And that's an important point because a lot of times, especially in my own book of business, the way that I've earned it is that if I am not closing on the first call, that's something that I did.
Right. Always. It's never the customer's fault. The customer's not always right. By far, they're far from it. But it's always your fault.
Right. I have not instilled something in them to get the urgency done. Whether
Or
they
you haven't built enough trust for them to just feel comfortable doing it now.
That's the majority of the time. Right. That's the majority of the time where they're like, I got to talk to somebody else. It's like, why are you pivoting toward that? Why would you need to talk to anybody else? Because they're going to give you the same information, if not wrong information.
Right. Can you imagine like you're about to propose to a girl, right? You're on one knee and she goes, well, I need to check with Bobby Flesher first.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
You mean Bobby?
Yeah.
That idiot?
Yeah. Exactly. Yep.
So, I mean, and this is where it goes. This is a business, not about just building business, but building relationships. So you got to get good at building a relationship so you have the justification of saying, hey, we need to do this. I
Yeah.
want to do this.
Yeah. Without sounding desperate.
Without sounding desperate.
Yeah.
And that's the whole point. That's where you have the authority piece come in.
Right.
That's where the knowledge base and the confidence come in. If I sat there and asked someone on a date, then I'm asking someone on a date. I'm not begging them for that. I'm saying I'm willing to make my time available. Let's go have fun.
Right.
Right. If I'm asking someone to marry me, I'm willing to make my long term available to you and to protect and take care of you.
Yeah.
Let's go get this done.
Yeah. You said that last time, or was it Brandon Todd's dad that said we're not trying to date our clients, we're trying to marry them?
That's exactly right.
Yeah. That's a concept that is foreign to a lot of these agents out of the business.
Right.
I mean, it is, but what's great is that the recruits that we're bringing on, they know that that's what they want. They saw that there's something going on, that they're in a matrix, and they're seeing the glitches and they're seeing the issues. Like, wait a minute, you mean to tell me that if I talk to a client and I get them into a policy, I can't talk to them ever again? And that's how it's structured. They cannot talk to them ever again.
Because it's not their client, it's their company's
It's
client.
a company's client. So it's handled in the retention department. Yeah.
Right.
And that's where, like we've talked about before in these dojos, that's the majority of where these incumbents are going.
Well, so
Yeah. So what we need to do is we need to but we need to instill with our agents how for them to understand this concept of a marriage between our agents, which they are their book clients, and the clients themselves.
Well, it's one of those things where instilling, but also exposing. You generally get people to want something by exposing them to the light of what that thing is.
Yeah.
So now, not everyone is in proximity enough to come in and see how our operation works inside our headquarters. Local agents, I don't see why you shouldn't. Come in and take a look. Listen to what we're telling you. We spend an hour or whatever time we can spend on every day to get up there and say, hey, this is how we operate. This is what we do. Take advantage of that. Share that. You have to be able to sit there and go, okay, I want something. I can't really codify it because I haven't been exposed, but something else is missing. You got to start actually talking about what's missing to figure it out. And you got to start listening to people that have these things, or have already accomplished the things that you want to accomplish.
Yeah.
And not in a fake rich, fake famous Instagram way, right? Not in that crap. I mean, guys that'll actually sit there and go, okay, well, this guy knows his industry. This guy's actually been there.
Yeah.
That's what we offer. We're not going to instill anything. We'll expose people to stuff. And those people that take it will be successful and run with it. And the ones that don't, I can't browbeat you to success.
That's the first thing that they have to pay attention to in the script study or the script knowledge is you are going to be looking at this script and you're going to be like, I got to get through the script. I got to get through the script because that's going to get me to close. And yes, by nature, if you do follow the script, it will bring you to a closure. But the first thing that they have to understand is the reason that our intro is so open-ended is because it allows you to have conversations with them. That's the most important part. When you're looking at that script, make sure that it says, hey, how is it going? That's important to say in your opening statement. What's going on?
Right. And by the way, that works universally. People go, oh, I don't like to use that because I really don't care. Well, then you should start caring right away because it's going to dictate how the rest of this call is going to go. So you might start asking it. And also it works on every industry I've ever worked in.
Yeah.
So it's a universal concept, whether I was talking to a CEO of an international bank or whether I'm talking to mom and pa at a kitchen table, it still works.
Yeah.
Because it's societal reinforcement. It's a survival mechanism that we're conditioned and programmed genetically to go, I feel bad, I feel good.
Right. And then through that conversation, you have to ask insightful questions.
Right.
You know, you got to listen.
It's like discovery. That's what I call it, discovery. You're finding, as you're asking the questions, every bit get you to the, it's a roadmap.
Well, typically what's different about our company compared to other incumbents is that their discovery training is very short.
Yeah.
They're like, get them to the script, get them to the close, ask them questions, build rapport. I hate that term, build rapport. But what we do, let me just make this point and then we'll go to that. What we do here differently, and this is a good solution to that, is that discovery, that's a germinating of ideas through the questions. So we have to ask questions and listen. We have to take our time and do that. Go ahead.
So one of the things to look at, if you're going to look at human psychology and how people get information from people and bend them and break them, and even the toughest people in the world, right? You're talking like World War II, service members, colonels shot down over Europe. And what they would do is they would have the world that's out there, and this is the general like, oh, God, it's horrible. I mean, it's World War II and all this other stuff. And there. But then they would also bring in people that were just good at listening. And they would talk about everything else other than the war or other than what every other interrogator would do. Yeah. And that causes people to open up. And then you get you don't get the exact answers what you want, but you get the metadata about what they're talking about. And you got to be able to pick that and don't parse it and don't try to direct it.
Right.
The reason the scripts, and also don't treat a script. You can treat most scripts like, well, this is something I have to get through. And no, that's not. The script that we have is not to make you a sale. You will get sales if you go through it, but the script that we have is to actually make a conversation.
Yes.
That's why there's red lines and it says, shut up.
Right.
Don't say anything. Right? This is very important. It's one line in the script, but it's supposed to be a 30-minute conversation at this point. Right? All of these things that are in there, and you see it all the time. Well, I went through the script. Did you? You said the things on it, but did you go through the process the script is supposed to create? Yeah. That's what it is. Yeah. It's like, and part of that is setting up the course for you to be able to listen to someone, because by listening to someone, you build rapport. Yeah. They will project what they want onto you. You're never going to tell anyone that you are the best person in the world for them at this time, but they will start to believe it if you listen to them. Yeah.
Have you ever thought about getting into hostage negotiation?
Why?
You would be really good at it.
Yeah.
I'd look into it.
So, I will tell you this. I have been around a long time. Yeah. And I have been through all walks of life, except for retirement. I haven't gotten there yet. But these things are constant no matter who you talk to, no matter how rich they are, no matter how poor they are. So by building that and listening to people, they will attach themselves to you because
Yeah.
you're an outlet and you're a reassuring presence.
Yeah, I always say that. What got me from a good agent to a great agent is when I started having conversations, like genuine conversations.
I remember that one time when I was like, they keep on saying they got something. I go, well, ask them what they got.
Right.
Well, what'd you get? That's awesome. What'd you get?
Yeah.
And then you're like, an hour later, it's like, oh crap.
Right. Right.
I just signed them up with something else. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Let them brag about how good a job they did. Tell them they did a great job. And go,
Yeah.
hey man, did anyone ever tell you about this one though? I mean, that's a great deal. But
Right.
anyone tell you what particular you got?
Yeah.
Oh, well, it's just price.
Yeah.
Well, let's get you $10 less.
Yeah.
I'm glad I got a hold of you, man. Thanks.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. People get really, really comfortable with you really quick when they know that you're not trying to tell them they did something wrong.
Mhm.
Yeah. And those are a lot of the things that new recruits are dealing with is like, they're very much concerned with being another part of a turn and burn factory. And I said, why would we do that? Because we're not here to close deals. We're here to build lifelong clients.
Mhm.
And there's no way that we could do that if we're turning and burning.
Mhm.
So having those conversations, getting into the discovery,
Mhm.
that's what we are the best at.
It's not a dial game. All right. It's not a game of numbers. Yeah, there are a component of it, but that's not the game. It's a game of engagement.
Yeah.
How do I get people engaged in a conversation? As many people as possible. You pick up the phone with me, unless you say, put me on the do not call list, I am calling you right back.
Yeah.
You can go tell me to go do whatever you want me to tell me.
Yeah.
Doesn't hurt my feelings. I'm a Marine.
Right.
I will call
Right.
you right back and I'll say, I think there's a misunderstanding.
Yeah.
Not trying to sell you anything right now.
Yeah.
What do you want? And I don't mean it at that point. At this point, I want to get into a conversation.
Yeah. Especially now with their logic being that it's close to closing the door.
Yeah. And you've seen some of the recorded conversations and stuff like that and the training manuals where we've scrubbed the information. You've heard people from your hometown berate the living hell out of me.
They're good at it.
They're very good at it. She's had one person like, if I had a battery right now, I'd beat you in the head with it. I'm like,
Yes.
well, it's
Yep.
a thick head. So good luck.
Yeah.
But yeah, and guess what? Ended up making multiple sales off that client.
It just takes repetition. That's the key thing. There's no secret sauce. Frank Bryan is not a top agent because there's a secret that you are holding from everybody else. I just did exactly what the script told me to do.
Right.
That's it.
But we want to, so much of the training other people have gotten over the years is based off of marketing training, not sales training. And one of the things that used to be a big thing in marketing, especially on radio and television, is dead air is wasted air.
Mm-hmm.
So everything has to be filled. Every vacuum has to be filled with information at any time because advertisers and stuff like that want that. But in sales, it's the opposite. That dead air is relaxed. That
Mm-hmm.
dead air is an opening for you to discuss something with me,
Mm-hmm.
right? To you to share with me. So right now, most of the training out there is about marketers, and people are good at writing copy, saying, well, this is this, and then you got to go to this. And when you look at it, you go, well, where's the actual conversation in this?
Right.
Where's the breathing room? Where's the awkwardness that forces that person to fill in the space themselves without me soliciting?
Are you okay with that, Aaron?
Um,
How you doing with that?
I am actually. I
Get
am.
better? Yeah.
I noticed like at first, especially because a lot of times you're sitting there on the phone, there's a lot of dead silence for, as you're entering information. And I used to want to talk or put information, but now definitely, I've gotten more comfortable just entering the information, carrying conversation and getting through it. But I was going to ask, like, if you had to redo this all over again, like, what advice would you give for like someone,
Starting.
Starting. What's real important to take home, especially?
What would you say?
Well, right now, I'm trying to just started. I had like 5-6 weeks before really AEP. This is right here.
Mm-hmm.
My question is, what's it going to be like after AEP?
Mm-hmm.
What does it look like after?
So the way that Medicare Gurus runs the business, we are year round. We're recession proof year round because we're Medicare supplement driven.
Right.
So nothing's really going to change. We may have less people calling in for their drug plans,
Right.
but other than that, it's still going to be the same year round
Right.
because people on their policies need to renew their policies,
Right.
or they need to review it with an agent and see if they need to change or not change.
Right.
So to go back to your question, what advice do I have for new agents just starting? The key thing is, you have to avoid, and Brandon uses this a lot. I'm going to give Brandon Todd credit to this. You have to ignore your inner loser. Your inner loser is that voice that says, oh, it's not working because of this reason. Or I'm not talking to anybody because the leads are bad. Or I am not getting any deals because it's just the nature of the business. I just have bad luck. You know, that according to him is your inner loser telling you that you're going to fail.
Mhm.
This type of job, you have to dedicate time because this is, as we call it, get rich slow.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, slow is relative.
It is relative.
I mean, $100,000+ in continuity income within a couple of years isn't.
And
really
that's what I'm
slow.
saying. Like,
Mhm.
and it's real. It's not like you're going to sell a lot of Medicare Advantage that are going to close you. What I mean by that, it is relative, is that these people have to understand that the people that they're talking to are going to be their clients.
Mm-hmm.
They have to earn the trust.
Mm-hmm.
They have to go through the motions to have those clients understand that they are going to be the last point of contact for Medicare. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
And once I understood that, it was easy. Because it's like I'm showing them my knowledge, I'm explaining how things go, I'm going through the script, and they're saying what they're saying to Frank, like, oh, you know what you're talking about.
Right.
I'm not talking to an agent who's just trying to get me into a plan or trying to sell me something. It's like, why would I try and do that?
Yeah.
I have no idea what you need.
Would I've spent 15 minutes talking about your little teacup chihuahua if I was doing that?
I don't care about your plan right now.
Right.
Because I don't even know who you are.
Yeah.
How will I know what plan to get you if I have no idea who you are?
Right.
I use that line a lot because they're like, it's a good, we hate to use overcoming objection, but I like to use that line a lot because it de-escalates their defense mechanism.
Yeah.
You know, they're like, you're trying to sell me something? I'm not. It's like, look, sir or ma'am, I don't know who you are. You know, so how can I get you into anything if I don't know who you are?
Yeah.
And they're like, okay, that's an honest answer. And then we almost all the time we're able to move forward, and then we get them something.
For me personally, my first year on the books, I did about 385 policies when I started here. And that was when there was so many, we were the only people in the market that are actually marketing online for Medicare. And we had hundreds of leads a day we couldn't even touch. So it was an absolute abundance. And even though I was already really good at sales and had a lot of industry knowledge in other industries, the things that I had learned were the typical sales stuff, right? So my biggest thing, if I would have started over again, is not try to fight for the actual close all the time. Fight for the next 5 minutes of conversation. When I learned that, I doubled my production. And then I didn't need to dial 100, 150 to 200 times a day. I was doing it at like 20. I mean, it's that big. And then leaving good voicemails and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Trying not to, I don't want you to sit there and buy from me right now. Getting that in my head and going, I don't want this right now. I want it like 40 minutes from now, right? I want it after we had dinner, that kind of stuff. Going to that and fighting for those minutes to get the opportunity to demonstrate value. That's where it was. So when people keep on going, well, what's this about? I don't know what it's about. Well, I don't know what it's about. Just bought me another 2 minutes.
Right.
It could have been this. It could have been this. What's going on? Is there anything going on? So what do you got? Well, I mean, I don't have anything. I got everything. I'm a Medicare specialist. Well, there's another 3 minutes. There's another 5 minutes. It's a game of inches, just like football, right? So by the next thing you know, they've stopped asking and they just are literally trying to find out what the goal is on this journey with you. So, and that's what you can do in that script and not lose your spot and still be able to fill in those things.
Yeah.
So if I had learned that, well, back then I'd probably get yelled at. Well, actually I was yelled at one point when I really started getting it. It wasn't via Brandon or anything. It was just other agents like, what the hell, man? You're only making like five dials a day. I'm like, yeah. What's your secret? I don't have a secret. You just listen to what you're sitting next to me. Listen to me.
Right.
So that's the big thing, especially for agents nationwide. People go, well, I need 100 leads a day. No, you don't. What you need to do is learn to leave really good messages to elicit a request or a call back, not a sale. Don't talk about price. Don't talk about other stuff. And then you need to be good at fighting for the next 5 minutes, not for the sale. The sale will come naturally. That's the key.
So let's end on that point. That's a good point.
Yeah, I think this is a short one today, but we are super busy.
I know. That's why we're ending here.
In fact,
So,
I came in here to kind of get you, but you were on a roll.
I know. All right. So here's some takeaways from here. Okay. For those new agents, if you are struggling to get into conversations, don't fight for the close. Fight for the next 5 minutes. Just keep them on the phone to talk to them about the next 5 minutes. Listen to what their concerns are.
Keep them engaged in a conversation.
And don't be afraid to tell them that you have no idea where this conversation is going.
Because you don't.
Because you honestly don't. If you're honest with them, they'll hear that honesty and you're able to move forward.
But I am here to help you in whatever it is you need.
Correct. All right, guys. Thank you for that. You have 2.5 more days left. Let's get out there and start selling, guys. Thanks.